Well, good evening, and thank you for joining me. I'm First Alert meteorologist Jake Lambright. I wanted to break down the details. Of course, we got some dense fog tomorrow morning. The space station is visible tomorrow night, and we've got our next weathermaker on the horizon. If you've been waiting for that good rain, this could be some good news. However, there's also some other news we need to talk about as well, potentially with that next weathermaker. So let's dive right in here real quick with a live look from our England Air Park camera here in Alexandria. Things looking pretty nice and quiet out there. And of course, we will continue to see those nice and calm conditions as we go throughout the night tonight. Current temperatures right now starting to cool down pretty quickly here. We're in the upper 50s, low 60s, so not too bad. And we don't cool down much more from here. In fact, your hour-by-hour forecast here showing that after midnight, we start to see temperature shift into the upper 50s, and from there we slowly cool down into the mid 50s overnight tonight. All right, let's talk about the International Space Station. It will be visible tomorrow night. Not very high above the horizon, so you'll want to find a nice kind of more open area, maybe an open field away from the city lights in order to see the space station. So you'll want to start around 6:09 tomorrow evening looking to the west. That's where the space station will appear. It reaches a max height of 18 degrees above the horizon, and as we get closer to 6:14, it will start disappearing in the northern sky. Let me go back to that here real quick. This here is actually a map of our cloud cover across the state, actual cloud cover. You see it kind of there in 3D. So a few clouds expected tomorrow, should not block the view for most, though, of the space station if you're trying to catch it. Again, that 5-minute window, 6:09 to 6:14 tomorrow evening. You want to look from west to north in the sky. All right, now we got to talk about tomorrow morning's commute, because visibility for your commute tomorrow is not looking all that great. Similar to how we kind of saw things stack up yesterday, this latest data kind of wants to back off on some of that dense fog. I still think some of us will see it. You'll see visibilities there, maybe as low as a mile in some spots. Worst case scenario, we're talking visibility as low as 1/10 of a mile to 1/4 of a mile in a few isolated locations. Let's fast forward things to about 9-10 a.m. You'll notice visibility looking a lot better by that point. Now, when it comes to our next chance of rain, that comes a little bit later on next week. Here's a look at our weather setup. I'm going to get my pen here so I can draw a couple things. Here's our trough of low pressure that'll be moving through portions of Texas and Louisiana. That could bring us the chance for rain and maybe a strong storm or two as we head into next week. Now, you'll see some maps out there that are from universities and whatnot that use machine learning that try to indicate severe weather potential this far out. Is there a chance we see some stronger storms? Yes, but keep in mind we are a week out, and you'll just see these big red blobs on these maps. Not anything to be concerned about for now, but just a reminder that as we head into next week, Monday, Tuesday at the latest, you need to be paying closer attention to the forecast by the end of the week. Maybe the chance for strong storms are still there, maybe it's not there at all. So again, nothing to be too concerned about or worked up about at this time, but of course going to be watching that closely as we head into next week. So that trough moves out, then we see a ridge of high pressure starting to build in as we get closer to next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. That's when this is valid for. And our next trough of low pressure already on the horizon. If we see that move through, that would likely be later Sunday into next week. And again, way too far out to talk specifics about rainfall amounts, strong storm potential with that one. Again, kind of looking toward the end of that 10-day forecast. So rain chances here over the next 7 days. You'll notice very limited rain chances through about Tuesday of next week. Then they start to go up. 30% chance of rain for later in the day, Monday. That chance is going to be a little higher during the overnight hours. And then our highest chance of rain on the 7 days is going to be next Thursday. Again, as that trough of low pressure starts to move through. So that's when I'm going to really be watching things the closest. For now, though, things are going to be pretty smooth sailing here in the days to come. Before we dive into these low temperatures and kind of what to expect temperature-wise over the next 10 days, I do want to remind you, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave those in our comment section over in our Facebook chat. I'll be answering some of those here in just a minute. So if you have questions, go ahead, start typing those out now and getting those in the chat, and I'll be getting to those here in just a couple minutes. This morning, you might have noticed it was a bit warmer as you headed out the door. 10 degrees or so in most locations compared to yesterday morning, where we started off in the low to mid 40s. That low 40s, that's where we should be this time of the year, or mid 40s, I should say, where we should be this time of the year for our average temperature. So running about 10 degrees above average in some locations. And that trend isn't going anywhere. We keep it in the 50s here for morning lows for the next couple days, and then eventually see a shift to the 60s. So Tuesday through Thursday morning of next week, and we see morning lows in the low to mid 60s. We go to the 50s next Friday morning, and then potentially back to the 40s, which again, close to where we need to be this time of the year, should be, I should say, by the following weekend. High temperatures this afternoon, just a little bit warmer, not 5 to 10 degrees warmer, but most spots topped out in the upper 70s to low 80s, and similarly, that is not going anywhere as well. We keep it in the 80s here through next Wednesday. From there, we see temperatures dipping into the 70s for a couple days, eventually the 60s possibly by the following weekend. So tomorrow's forecast not looking too bad. Again, starting things off, 9 a.m. in the mid 60s. We keep it in the 60s 7 through 9 p.m. tomorrow. So after the sun sets, we'll stay warmer there for a little while longer. Again, sunny skies expected, not anticipating any rain during the day tomorrow, really not over the next several days. You'll see that here, your First Alert 7-day forecast. You might want to keep that umbrella handy, possibly Wednesday, definitely Thursday, though you're going to want that umbrella. Expanding on that a little bit more there with your 10-day forecast. I am going to adjust the forecast a little bit more tomorrow. Again, that 10-day forecast kind of auto updates sometimes. So with how things are currently looking, I'm not expecting rain, and if that holds up tomorrow for next weekend, Saturday and possibly Sunday, then I will adjust those accordingly. For now, though, I am going to leave that low-end chance of rain in the forecast. All right, I don't see any questions here on my end, so I'm going to go ahead and hop off here, but of course I'll have another weather update for you right here on your Roku, your Fire, Apple TV, on the KALB app. That's coming up tonight at 10. Of course, Johnny will have your news then as well. But of course, we'll be live again tomorrow afternoon with more, or tomorrow morning, I should say. Kaylee will have your forecast as you head out the door. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Thursday, a great Friday, and a great weekend ahead.